Reprehensible and sickening. Those were the words used by LMPD in 2022 after 2 officers were charged for throwing drinks on people out their car door. Now the video was made public. It's our top story here at 5. I'm Alex Dieterer. Both detectives no longer work for LMPD. These 2 men you see right here, Kurt Flynn and Brian Wilson, admitted to throwing fountain drinks at people while on the job. Both pleaded guilty to federal charges of violating civil rights while working in West Louisville. Now, years later, we've obtained video from the infamous slushygate through an open records request. Our Jim Stratman has been going through those videos today.
A lot has changed since August of 2018, the first time that LMPD officers recorded themselves throwing drinks on residents. Still, the video is quite shocking, and it does shine a light on the department and the city as they work to negotiate a consent decree.
Thirsty fam!
The actions of officers caught on video throwing drinks on citizens who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Dude, I actually feel bad about that. I don't know if I got it on film.
Laughing at the outcome. The Department of Justice said that between August 2018 and September of 2019, 2 former LMPD officers, Brian Wilson and Kurt Flynn, violated the rights of citizens they were sworn to protect through actions like this.
Up against the building. Oh, she's done. Don't miss. Get her.
The 2 pleaded guilty in 2022. Wilson was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, while Flynn was set to serve 3 months.
That is an unacceptable set of incidents that happened years ago before the chief was chief, or even on LMPD, and before I was mayor.
In the wake of the video being released, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg spoke to our Isaiah Kim Martinez about where the department was at the time and where he believes it's heading.
We are focused on improving the culture of LMPD, where we proactively work with community, where we build trust with the community, and we want to have an LMPD that everyone trusts and respect. And so we are focused on a very different way of training. We've improved focus on supervision. Incidents like that will not be tolerated by Chief Gwynn Biller-Roel or myself.
Remember, it was that kind of culture that led to the department and the city entering into a consent decree negotiation with the Department of Justice. Now, in that sit-down interview with Mayor Greenberg, the mayor said that the city has still not received the first draft of that consent decree. Reporting in Louisville, Jim Stratman, WHAS11, on your side.
In response to the videos being released to the public, LMPD released a statement saying, quote, "The incidents are a painful part of LMPD's history. For context, the individuals responsible for throwing the drinks faced federal prosecution, and others that were involved are no longer employed by LMPD and/or have been disciplined. The department has implemented reforms that emphasize constitutional policing while rebuilding community trust." In 2022, when the officers were fired from the department, we asked residents of West Louisville if they had similar experiences. Some told us they weren't surprised.
This is nothing new to no black person, but it only take that one bad one to make everybody think all of them's bad, or not to trust them.
And the ones who knew what was going on and that they was doing that, how do they get away?
Both of the officers pleaded guilty to federal charges in this case. Wilson also admitted to charges of conspiracy to cyberstalk. Again, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Flynn was sentenced to 3 months in jail. A woman is dead this evening after an apartment fire this morning. Right now, Louisville Fire is working to find out what caused it. Crews were called to River Park Drive around 7:30 this morning. Even though they arrived in just 4 minutes, the fire had already engulfed the 2-story apartment. Firefighters say they immediately initiated search and rescue for the one woman inside. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. Louisville Fire says no other unit was damaged. The arson unit is investigating. Louisville's crisis call deflection program has doubled in activity since expanding its hours this summer. The nearly 2-year-old program sends mental health workers on calls instead of police. Focus reporter Travis Breeze shows us how many people are actually being connected to services as part of the program.
Hello, this is Imani with Deflection. How can I help you today?
The Crisis Call Diversion Program is sometimes called deflection.
We are able to keep more officers on the streets where they can do their police work and not deal with runs that they're not really qualified to handle.
All calls come in here to MetroSafe. If the original call taker senses a mental health crisis without an immediate threat, it gets transferred to the crisis triage workers.
Spend a little bit more time learning about what the situation entails.
Nicole Wiseman manages 7 county services part of the program, while James Polk handles the MetroSafe side. 60% of crises are handled over the phone. If someone needs in-person assistance, they send out the mobile response team. 2 workers from 7 counties meet people with an unmarked van and de-escalate the situation while finding out what they really need.
What is it that you are hoping that will be the biggest change, that you're looking for? Is it something where you need that higher level of care, where you need to go to the hospital? Or is it that we could actually take you to another community resource?
This is police responding to a low-level trespassing call 2 months before the deflection team started. The subject, 66-year-old Keith Smith, had 21 misdemeanor arrests in 21 months before dying in custody. The Department of Justice used Keith as an example of why LMPD needed a crisis calls diversion program in its scathing March report. Wiseman and Polk both declined to directly address Keith's case. But generally, they said calls like this still require police involvement at first.
Police go out and at least clear for safety, but if they're there and they're able to say this is actually something that's going to be more appropriate for deflection, then that's something that they can send to us pretty quickly.
71% of people who got a mobile run voluntarily agreed to be taken to a service provider, hospital, someone's house, or a homeless shelter. That's 412 people in the last 9 months.
What we do is we break that cycle by showing them there's a whole avenue of things that we can provide you. All you have to do is let us.
They'll continue to do outreach, so police officers on the streets and service providers remember they are just a call away.
The more the officers get comfortable with using us, and as time goes on, and then as we expand the hours, I expect we'll at least double again.
When you call 911, you can immediately ask to be transferred to the deflection team between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. The program has 32 employees right now and almost $3 million in the most recent city budget. They are trying to expand to 24-hour service soon. In Louisville, Travis Breeze, WHAS11 on your side.
This year, the mayor expanded the call diversion program to all 8 LMPD divisions. The move laid out in recommendation number 19 in the Department of Justice's report on LMPD. Just a little bit after 5 now, and the sun is beginning to set. And what a beautiful start to a sunset today. And I'm sure a lot of people still home today for the holiday, and a great day to get outside, go for a walk, which is something people probably couldn't do yesterday, Alden.
Yeah, it was a bit rainy yesterday, and you can maybe walk off some of that Christmas lunch or dinner that you had yesterday too. Temperature is pretty comfortable, near 50 degrees. Our high today was 54. That's almost 10 degrees warmer than average. Top right corner, our normal high is 45. So it was another warm late December day by December standards. But now we've cooled off just a couple of more degrees here as the sun continues to get lower in the sky, in the upper 40s around Metro Louisville at the moment. So a pretty comfortable evening for us. Winds are relatively light out of the west, but they have picked up a little bit now and then. So between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. Already 45 in Paoli, 45 really the popular temperature on the board, it looks like. A couple of light showers off towards the Lexington area. Those are going to be diminishing fairly soon. No rain falling for us here in our area, but our attention is back to the west. You see the snow in Kansas City? That's going to be making its way towards us as part of a larger storm system that brought us yesterday's rain and could bring us some rain and snow on Thursday too. Ahead, I'll let you know if we have any chance of that possibly resulting in accumulation. A quick check at some of our airport trends as some of us are going to be traveling. Despite that snow in the Kansas City area, no delays there, and really not seeing any delays at around several of our major airports across the area. So travel is looking fine for right now, Alex.
Thank you. And just like Alden is tracking, we seem to be pretty lucky here when it comes to winter weather. But if you are traveling anywhere else in the U.S., listen up. At least 7 states are on winter weather alerts for ice, snow, and blizzard conditions. But so far, flight cancellations have been limited. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Heavy snow pummeling parts of America's heartland. Authorities shutting down a portion of this highway near Elizabeth, Colorado, the area under a blizzard warning until Wednesday morning. And from Denver to the Kansas border, I-70 eastbound closed for a time, drivers being diverted off the interstate. People trying to navigate the slick, snow-covered roads. Similar scenes in Nebraska where drivers have been facing whiteout conditions. Parts of I-80 closed after a big pileup. The dangerous weather right in the middle of the holiday travel rush. The same system now heading east. Many are already dealing with dense fog in New York and Boston. Haunting morning fog also delaying some passengers in Manchester, New Hampshire.
And I got another text on the way to the airport. My flight on December 26th from Manchester now departs at 11:07, but now I think it's actually delayed even more.
Meanwhile, in Atlanta, some passengers tell us they waited over an hour and a half in the security line.
So I think we're going to wait probably twice as long as our flight. Our flight is 2 hours, but we're already an hour and a half in.
This is how long we've been standing in line.
We're still in the overflow area.
Yeah.
But overall, things have been pretty smooth. So far, delays and cancellations limited.
And this holiday travel season keeps breaking records. The TSA says on Friday alone, it screened 2.7 million passengers. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
So far, no snow yet.
No snow yet anywhere.
And here,
So far, it was great.
Leanna, travelers are pleasantly surprised in Louisville's airport this morning, despite being the busiest travel holiday season to date. No delays for people flying. Airport spokesperson Natalie Shadowan tells us through January 3rd, they have more than 100,000 departing seats scheduled. And a big perk, the new nonstop flights with Breeze Airlines, the airport's newest airline.
So far, it was great. This is our second flight with Breeze Airline. It has been great so far. I really like the airline. We were their maiden flight back when they first started flying out of Louisville. This was great. Easy go through, not too crowded.
Airport officials say travel is up 22% from this time last year.